Is the title aggressive? Yes. Do I actually mean it? Yes. But I do know I'm going to get very destroyed in the comments, but that's not the point. The point is that this is specifically about something called macro sense and macro knowledge. Something that I think both sides seem to struggle with on a game-by-game basis. I constantly see one side or another constantly have issues, and I just wanted to talk about it to everybody, to let them know what it is and hopefully teach them about it. I do want to say this is specifically for those who want to win. If you are someone who is just in here for the fun or to dick around, awesome, this video is not for you. But anyway, let's get into it. Most killer mains, no. DBD players in general ignore one very specific mechanic, and that is macro sense. The amount of time I see killers not patrol gens that they should know a survivor is at is insane to me. Don't even get me started on the 3 gens I've gotten killer by survivors doing the wrong gens over and over again. Greenfield Square is literally 3 gens simulator for me. I don't know why. It's so simple. Just don't do the fucking middle gens like that. Do them fucking first, for the love of God. What do I mean by macro sense? Basically, macro sense is being able to understand what is going on into the map as a whole. Some killers have better abilities to track these things. Survivors have things like the HUD and specific perks that can help with that. But in a general sense, I think both sides are very lacking in this. Now, why do I say this? Chaos Shuffle has really shown what both sides are like without any perks involved. Yes, there are technically perks, but no one's using perks that they are officially comfortable with. So they are doing things that they normally wouldn't do, or they do the things that they normally do and losing very badly. The thing is, there is a lot of killers who do not use their macro sense in a way that is very effective for the game. I see a lot of killers who do not patrol the gens that they need to patrol. They don't think about what are the closest gens that they should be going for. I'm not saying that they should 3-gen, but they should be like, oh hey, main building is stupid. It's way off in the corner. I have no reason to be in that building. Why am I going over there? But instead, a lot of them will go and take chases in main and then lose the game because they pressured a gen that didn't matter. A gen that was not helping them in any way. They struggle to find people without these aura perks or any other info perk that they could have. And so they can't find people, so they resort to tunneling and camping a lot, or they wander aimlessly around the map instead of going to pressure gens that they knew people should be at, but then for some whatever reason, it doesn't cross their mind. And it could be skill, it could be all these other things involved, but I do think a lot of people use perks as a crutch, especially on killer side, I think. I know a lot of people are like attack killers for using aura perks or whatever stupid thing it is this week on Twitter. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use aura or slowdown. I just think that some people use it to a point where they don't have any confidence in their own overall play. And I think that's a detriment to themselves overall, because this nerf to the perks that are for slowdown coming up, it's gonna really hurt some killers. I'm not gonna be affected by it. I don't run slowdown, especially not those ones. If I run slowdown, I run surge. Or weird things like deadlocks. I mean, deadlock did get hit, but it's passive. I don't like doing meta things, and that's why I also don't run aura perks. I do have a killer that I main that is pretty good at macro sense, so I do have an extra advantage towards someone like Trapper, who doesn't have map ability and has no way to know if people are in certain areas without them disarming their traps. I do have a passive way to gain that knowledge with my TVs, and knowing when they get turned off, when they have people get the condemn stacks when I teleport. I know that they're on a gen, and so I just gotta use my past knowledge to figure out which gen they're on. I know that I do have a very good killer for macro sense, and I tend to play a lot of macro sense killers, which is why it's really easy for me to not really give a crap about these issues that a lot of people seem to have, especially with slow killers, and I don't blame them. Patrolling gens across the map over and over again is very bad. But that's why it's even more important to know which areas you should try to focus on and then which areas you should be avoiding overall. On Survivor's side, it is insane. I literally cannot believe how many times I see people 3-gen themselves. I don't even try for it. I'm just playing the game as normal, going for chases, getting downs, hooks, whatever. And then it gets to the final 3 gens of the map, and it's a 3-gen. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? How did y'all manage to do this? And it could be possible that I'm passively applying pressure into places because I am that experienced with macro sets killers. But on the other side, they should also be actively going against that anyway. They shouldn't just fall into it. The amount of times that I play Survivor and people do not go towards center gens or split gens to try to spread the pressure is insane. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't care if you're doubling up on gens or whatever. Like, if that's something you want to do, if you're just chilling, vibing, cool. I don't care. You do you. But if you're like, especially trying to spread the gen pressure and you're being very smart about your placements and somehow you still get 3-gen'd, you did not pay attention to that game. Just plain and simple. Like, it just is what it is. It's okay. It's okay in the long span of things, but it is something that happens. I also do want to mention that survivors should be knowing where they're gonna run when the killer comes by. And that's why a lot of them do run windows or exhaustion perks to help them get to those specific areas to know where they're gonna go to try to make as much time against the killer. In this game mode with the shuffle, so many people lost those things. And so they would try to do the things they normally would, and they would be caught in the open in the most random ways. It was a little wild to see survivors have perks to help them understand, and they have the HUD. The HUD is very a powerful tool, especially in solo queue, to know what is going on, which teammates are down, which teammates are on a gen, how far that gen is being done, which teammate should go for the hook, which teammate probably did go for the hook so you can stay on the gen. That is all macro information. And Survivor does get a lot of it for free, which is awesome. I think it's a good thing to have. I know Swifts have access to this thing too, but I mean, they had access to it before by using words if they're actually caring. If they're just a casual Swift, I mean, who fucking cares? If you want to learn macro sense, there are some perks that help a lot. Deja Vu on the Survivor side will let you know which gens are the closest together, so you can start working on getting rid of those. And then Lethal Pursuer on the killer side will let you know where people spawn and which gens they are most likely going to start when they spawn in. A smart survivor will go towards the middle gen, and you should know that already. But if you're playing in a lobby, which is very common in pubs, to find people who just spawn on a gen and start doing it. Corrupt also works in this way, but it doesn't give you direct knowledge, which is why I say lethal is better for teaching. The most important thing with both these perks is that they should not be used religiously. They are something that you should use as training wheels until you are ready to get rid of them and be able to understand the game without those perks. I understand not everybody has as many hours as most people who make content in this game, and that's just how it works. Obviously, when you make content for this game, you are playing this game so much. But I only have 4,000 hours, give or take, and I know that there's random, say, Twitch streamers who also have around that many hours and are still dropping the ball in various aspects. So I do think this is something that needs to be brought up more. I was mentioning in a comment to one of the YouTubers I follow, Mr. Headache, they did a video about this pyramid head needing to be better at macro sense. And I think that was awesome. I was so happy that someone mentioned macro. But apparently, from what they responded to my comment with, is that every one of their match replays, they end up talking about macro sense, which is amazing, but I don't think it is doing as much as it should, because I think macro sense needs to be discussed as an overall thing and as its own topic, at least in my opinion. I know that that could vary. It is what it is, right? Now this video is going on forever, so I'm just going to go ahead and get ready to end it here. I know that it is something that takes time to get better at, but I do think people need to look around and take a look at macro sense and see that the gens don't fly as fast if you pressure everything as intended. I know a lot of people are very stressed about that, and I get it. I know that sometimes it feels really bad, especially if you're learning a new killer or whatever, but I think macro sense is where a lot of people are lacking, and it is a good way to get better at the game overall and be able to play the game in a more efficient way for everybody. And I know that MMR really ruins it, and that is what it is. But that's it, guys. I hope you guys like and consider subscribing. I appreciate it. It helps out a lot. We're going to be trying to go back to daily content. We'll see how that goes. It's really hard for me. I have a really bad attention span issue, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of different stuff. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will catch you guys next time. Farewell.